Why am I doing this to myself? So, welcome back to Dubster Dive, the show where I rant about a show for 30 minutes to an hour or so. You all laugh at my incompetency or something, I don't know, and then we all go home. Anyway, the show this time, or the anime this time, is The Reflection. Oh, any dub fan knows how atrociously bad this English dub is. And of course, you can only watch it on Funimation. I bet they're really happy where they can keep this damn treat for themselves. I think I'm one of the only people who consciously sat through this entire English dub twice. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? For those who don't know, The Reflection is an anime original from director Hiroshi Nagahama. Hey, that's kind of fun to say. Nagahama. Anyway. Who apparently worked on episodes of Revolutionary Girl Utena, Fruits Basket, I'm guessing the original, and he directed Mushishi. So, he's got some credits to his name. And the writer was Stan Lee. Yes, that's Stan Lee. You know, the legend. And, yeah, you figured this would work good. But then, Studio Dean. Motherfucker. Yeah, the dumbasses extraordinaire of erectile nuisances, as I've called them. Anyway, if you're unaware, Studio Dean are notoriously bad. We've covered them here before. They took over Seven Deadly Sins from A1. They're known for Higurashi, which was, I guess, alright, but either way, they're known for terrible, shoddy animation. So The Reflection, this is where its history gets a little confusing. Crunchyroll states that they co-produced the anime in September, according to The Reflection's Wikipedia, that they licensed it then and handed it off to Funimation for an English dub. The problem is, though, Funimation announced the English dub at July of 2017's Comic-Con, 2 months earlier. So, if Wikipedia can't even get this show's backstory right, how the hell am I supposed to give a shit? Anyway, Wikipedia's been wrong before, though, to be fair, so we'll give it a pass. So this anime would air again July of 2017, and in August of that year, just a couple weeks later, a simuldub would premiere. And, well, let's just get this out of the way. So, The Reflection is the story of a group of people that get superpowers. Yeah, real original. So, some, I guess, black smoke and white particles pierced the Earth's atmosphere, and the white particles touched people, and the people it touched or shined on, some of them died, others that survived got superpowers. The black smoke, however, turns the ones it touched evil, I guess, or... Alright, how to break this down. So the ones the black smoke touches makes them horribly disfigured and turns them into monsters. Whereas the whites, lights that shine on people, they maintain their humanity or their human shape. But, yeah, I guess it affects everyone differently. But when the majority of the black smoke ones are considered evil, you can understand my confusion. Why couldn't you just say, like, why'd you need two different things? It makes it a little complicated. Anyway, it gave birth to what people call as the Reflected. And of course, whether good or evil, the normal everyday casuals, or normies, are skeptic of them and are frightened because they don't understand them and they treat them like outsiders and outcasts, thus giving the antagonist motivation to create a world where Reflected are all together and humanity is basically dead, etc. Whereas the good Reflected want to fight against them, and it's literally fucking X-Men! Look, I'm trying not to get heated, alright? I am. Trust me. But it's literally X-Men. Stan Lee, you wrote this, man, alright? And I'm not going to disrespect you, okay? You are a legend. You've earned every piece of respect you get. But did you just want to make more X-Men and Marvel told you no? Because it was during that time period where they wanted to shit all over X-Men? I wouldn't be surprised. MVC Infinite came out that year with no X-Men in it. But that's what it feels like. He wanted to tell an X-Men story and couldn't. The main character's name is literally called X-On. Just X-on. That's his name. Anyway. So the main female, Eleanor, who happens to be a Reflected also, who doesn't understand her powers, wants X-On, she stalks him, because he's a good Reflected, to train her. He more or less reluctantly agrees, as long as she helps him investigate Wraith, the main antagonist of the series, who's leading the evil Reflected. Come to find out, the evil Reflected are abducting Reflected all around the country, which, by the way, takes place in the US. Figured I should mention that. So they could bring them over to their cause. More Reflected, the better. So, yeah, that's our basic setup. They go around the country trying to find other Reflected before they're abducted. And there's other characters, too, which I will get to, don't worry, because one of them actually has a really good story. The rest are all boring and kind of shit. But first, let's get to everything else. Animation, it's Studio Dean, need I say more? You're not getting Konosuba out of this, trust me. The music, on the other hand, is one thing people do seem to like about this show, and I would wholeheartedly agree. It's done by Trevor Horn, who, looking it up, just a quick glimpse, apparently helped out at one point with some of David Bowie's stuff. I can't confirm this again, but it's what it seems like, which if that's the case, holy shit. And apparently he's done music for a lot of big-name products since the late 80s, early 90s. But, yeah. The music, again, a lot of it is forgettable, but the one thing everyone remembers when watching this show is the song Sky Show. One of the characters, who's a musician, constantly plays this song when he's being a superhero on the side. I shouldn't say on the side, it's a bit more complicated than that, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. Anyway, Sky Show is honestly a really catchy song, and I highly recommend looking it up. I also really like the ending theme, Sun Sun Sunrise by 9-9. You know, famous, I guess, J-pop group. I thought that was an okay song too. Yes, I said that. The person who listens to metal music likes J-pop, I know. So, yeah, overall, that's okay, I guess. Aside from those two songs, a lot of it, like I said, is largely forgettable. I don't even know if you could count the anime ending theme as part of his music, though, that he composed, since it's licensed. But now it's time to get to the English dub. And it's a mess. Alright. So the English dub first, Eleanor. Voiced by Aviva Pressman. I know what you're wondering. If you're familiar with voice actors, who in the fuck is that? Well, the answer to your question is no one. I mean it. I tried looking her up, and the only thing I could find was an IMDb listing saying that she was known for being an interwoven. Never seen it, don't know. But, yeah, I don't know what ADR direction they gave her, but she sounds as bad as Andrew Ruthven in half her lines. I'm not joking. She can't deliver a line to save her life, and when she does, she ruins it by overacting. Okay, gotta calm down. Still got a long way to go. Anyway, I wish I could say more positive things about her. The problem, though, too, to give her some credit and fairness, Eleanor's just a boring fucking character. I might have mentioned this before, but for a voice actor to get into the role, they need to have something to get invested in as well. It's not just the viewer that needs to get into the character. The voice actor has to get attached to the character they're playing as, too. So, you know, for example, Edward Elric with Vic, who we're obviously going to get to in a couple of seconds. Edward Elric is a very complex, well-written character, right? But if he wasn't, imagine if he was a nothing character, Vic would have nothing to work with. And I feel a lot of that could be given to Aviva's performance as this character. Or you could just say she's a shit voice actor. I don't know. Any combination works, I guess. It's up to you. Eleanor, as stated, is the main female who wants to become, or wants to understand what it means to be a reflected and go on a journey to save all the other reflected from being abducted. It's all cookie cutter bullshit. Now, for the next one. Exxon. Exxon is, well, Vic Mignogna. You all know Vic, right? We've covered him. He's the theme of this whole month that we do. Edward from Full Metal Alchemist, like I just said. Broly from Dragon Ball Z. And, yeah, overall, look guys, I love Vic, alright? I do. But this is probably one of his worst performances. And again, it's not his fault, I don't think. Exxon has nothing to work with. He comes across as, he's the stoic, emotionless type, but because of that, there's nothing Vic can really latch onto. Hell, you don't find out about Exxon's backstory until around 9 or 10 episodes in, and it's exposited to you. It's not like we get to see Vic experiencing it himself and reacting to the situation around him in a flashback. So, I gotta say, yeah, this is one Vic role he doesn't sound that sexy in, and that hurts. Fuck you, Reflection. Fuck you for that. Anyway, after Vic, we have I-Guy. He's the musician I told you about. His real name is Ian Izzet, but he goes by I-Guy when he's a hero. He was a musician that composed Sky's Show, which I mentioned earlier, and yeah, after the reflection hit him, he was unable to sing anymore because it basically fucked with his vocal cords. So every time he tries singing, well, you get the idea. He releases loud shock waves that fuck with your ears. So it doesn't go very well. Yeah, he is voiced by James Kirby. Who is that, you ask? A literal ghost. I could not find anything on this man anywhere. Seriously. In fact, when trying to look up voice actors with that name, I kept running across Kirby Morrow. You know, Moroku from Inuyasha, one of the Ocean dubbed Gokus from DBZ, the one who tragically passed away last year. Rest in peace, Kirby Morrow. But James Kirby, I couldn't find anything on. And you know what sucks? He's probably the best voice actor here. I'm not joking. He's genuinely good at certain moments. Oh, sure, it's no masterpiece. It's not like you're going to get, the Rem Subaru scene from ReZero out of this guy. But for a show like this, where the dub is shit, he's trying. And I think that also has to go into the fact that, well, I-Guy or Ian isn't actually a character. He's not one note. He has traits to go along with him. I'll get to that in a minute once we read off the rest of the cast, but because of that, James Kirby is actually able to get into something. He's able to latch onto the role and, get invested. In fact, when the show is focused on I-Guy, it's kind of interesting to watch, I dare say. Everything else about the show fucking sucks, again. We'll get to that in a bit. So James Kirby, you get a pass for now. After him, we have Lisa, one of the other reflected, who's in a wheelchair, and her reflected ability, I guess spoilers, but I don't recommend anyone watch this. Her ability that she gets is to fly. Real original, guys. It's not even subtle either. The whole episode, when they run into her, she's in a wheelchair wishing she could fly, and her favorite hero is Soarman, a superhero who flies. Yeah, real clever. And yeah, she gets the ability to fly. She's voiced by Talia Sindel. I gotta stop sighing, I know. Talia Sindel, like the Mortal Kombat character? It's even spelled the same way. And she is another ghost. Yeah, this is another one I couldn't find anything on, and unlike James Kirby, she does not get anything to work with. a lot of her voice acting isn't very good. Her delivery is flat. She can't act in an emotional scene or anything. So, I don't know about this one. After her, we have Michael, who is, I guess, the last of our main cast I'm going to cover, because, guys, a lot of this dub cast, if we cover them all, we're going to be here all day, and a lot of these characters are one-offs, are not that interesting, and much like Talia Sindel over there, are a ghost, and I can't find anything on. Anyway, Michael is voiced by Arthur Romeo, and he's alright as this character, I guess, with what he's given. Arthur Romeo is another one on IMDb, has only 2 other things listed that I could find. Cruel Wind, and he was also involved in 3%. Don't ask me as who, I don't know, it doesn't say. He was also in directorial positions on other things. But yeah, he does an accent for Michael as well, since Michael is, I think, African? And oh, I should have mentioned also, Guy is British, and yeah, James Kirby does an alright British accent. But anyways, so for Michael, yeah, Arthur Romeo's not terrible. He's not amazing, but I'll take what I can get in this dub, alright? Leave me alone. But, yeah. Michael's whole backstory is his wife, when she was hit with the black smoke, transformed into like some weird monster turtle thing, and she's hiding inside her shell, never coming out, unless it's in defense of her husband, Michael, because she's ashamed of the way she looks. Michael, by the way, his ability is he's blind. And because of that, his blind eyes, now that he's a reflected, give him the ability to see who's a reflected and who isn't. So they can't wear a disguise around him. That's it. I guess another anime with a blind character. I gotta give it credit for that, at least. Anyway, let's move on from him. Next, we have our villains. So, first, we have Steel Ruler. And I'm going to be honest, this is another ghost. Voiced by Yasmina Shaw. That is the English voice actor's name, and I couldn't find anything on her. Again, another one where she doesn't get much to work with, so I can't really say anything too much. And, yeah, it's very hit or miss with a lot of her lines, just like everyone in this show. A lot of her line delivery is flat, just like a lot of the others. Moving on from her, one of the other villains is Flaming Fury. These fucking names. And she's voiced by, finally, someone I can work with! Layla Burzins. Most of you would probably know her recently as Zhao from Genshin Impact. She's Rei in Kakegurui Season 2. She's Malki Zaldik? One of Killa's older brothers. Or not older brother, one of his brothers. The fat one. You know what I mean. From Hunter x Hunter. So, yeah. Layla Burzins is, I guess, known for being able to be a female voice actor and voice male roles effectively well. And, yeah, she's one of the performances that's at least somewhat passable here. So, I guess we got 2, maybe 3 that are alright? Whatever. I'm only going to go through a couple more. The main antagonist of the show, Wraith, has 2 voice actors. In his Wraith form, he is Demetrius Conley Williams, someone I couldn't find much on. If you all know anything about him, I guess go ahead and let me know. And, I mean, he's just doing a weird, like, ghost voice, not much to go off of. But his human form, or Ethan, as his human name is, you go from being Wraith to Ethan. Anyway, is voiced by Zachary Rice. Ah, good. One I can work with. Zachary Rice is known for voicing White Blood Cell in Cells at Work, David in Force of Piano. I gotta get around to that show. Heard it was good. Baltz and Record of Grand Crest Sword, which we covered here before, and Ballflare, if that is how you pronounce that name, and The Testament of Sister New Devil Burst. And again, he's a monotone antagonist that tries acting all stoic and preaching poetic about humanity wanting darkness. very cliche antagonist. Not much for him to work with, to be honest. He doesn't even get to ham it up, really, since he has to sound monotone. And, yeah. The last one on the cast list I'm going to go for is one of the other antags named Mr. Mystic. Sounds like the name of a porn star. Anyway, voiced by Stan Lee. Yeah, Stan Lee voices a character himself here, and he's also, I guess, narrator-kun, because he says, next time on The Reflection, or previously on The Reflection. Which I'd be fine with that, but the character he's voicing... Alright, how do I put this? Stan Lee, as you all are aware, obviously, since this was just a few years ago, 2017, was very old at this point. Him trying to act as this character, a lot of it comes across like he's just talking. I don't think he could really do that much, to be fair. Please, no one attack me for this. I'm sorry, alright? Just my thoughts on the particular subject. But alright. Moving on from that. Stan Lee, I don't even think if this character were voiced by anyone else, in all fairness to him, would have done much. It's a character that's kind of nothing. He has the ability to, I guess, manipulate communication devices from what we see in other shit. Oh, I should mention what the other character's abilities are. So, Steel Ruler manipulates metal. Yeah, big surprise, I know. Let's see, Flaming Fury, you all get the idea. There's other villains too, but guys, I want to get done with this shit. Alright, this dub sucks. Now, for the scriptwriters, we have Matt Murray, and obviously Stan Lee was overseeing it all since he wrote this. And for the ADR directors, Matt Murray again. I don't even know who this guy is. And Aaron Fromm. And Isaac Simmons. I don't know who any of these people are, but either way, 3 ADR directors on a 12-episode anime? Isn't that a bit much? Look, it's common for a show to have more than one ADR director, but I've seen 2. You know, an ADR and an assistant. Not 3! Not 3 major ADR directors. None of them say assistant on them either. No wonder why the performances are all over the place. They're probably getting told 3 different directions to take a character in a scene. Either that or I'm just an asshole nitpicking things for the fun of it. You take your pick. Overall, this dub is a fucking mess. And as far as the plot of the show, as I stated before, it's cliche. If you know X-Men, you'll know what to expect. The characters are one note. Eleanor is one of the most boring protagonists I've ever seen, not helped by the dub performance. She doesn't even get any backstory until the last 2 episodes. 2 or 3, give or take. Really? How are we supposed to get invested into this? But okay, it's time I get into spoiler territory. If you don't want to know anything about this show and still want to watch it for some reason, go for it, just to see the absurdity of an English dub from a few years ago sound like shit. This dub is inexcusably bad. Again, some of the performances would be passable. As I said, James Kirby's okay, but it would be okay if, it were, 2002? Maybe even earlier than that. Cowboy Bebop was that year, if I'm not mistaken. And as much as we meme that show being a bit overrated at times, the dub being good is, that's true. Anyway, I could forgive it if this dub were late 90s, or maybe a Sentai dub. Alright, because Sentai are known for having dubs that can range in quality. We know this. But the thing is, it's not. In fact, it's his Funimation handled the dub. If there was ever anyone out there who wanted to think Funimation never put out a shit dub, show them this. But I've ranted long enough. This show hasn't gotten a physical release, except in Japan from Bandai, where it said they're charging anywhere from 25,000 to 35,000 yen, depending on the standard or limited edition box set. Could you imagine paying $300 for this shit? Nagahama at one point also said a season 2 would be coming, but I really doubt that. Oh. One other thing I forgot to mention. And I can't believe I forgot this, because this is the most notorious thing about this damn dub. I guess my rage blinded me. Yeah, it was a blind joke since my vision sucks, I know. There are characters in this dub that only speak Japanese. Yeah, they didn't get English voice actors in for the characters that hail from Japan. It's like Tekken. Why? I'd accept this if it were like Blood the Last Vampire. Again, that anime movie from way back actually had it where dub voice actors were from the US, Japanese voice actors were from Japan. No matter where you watched it, you'd get the same experience. But it's not the case. This show has a Japanese dub. And I mean that. Exxon has a Japanese voice actor credited to him. So you could dub every character in Japanese, but when it came to English, you said no? Fuck off with that. So yeah, there's a subplot going on through the show where it keeps panning over to Japan, and I guess, Japanese characters are talking about coming to America, Japanese reflected. And it switches from dub to sub constantly in certain episodes. I can't tell you how annoying that shit is. Again, like I said with Blood the Last Vampire, I accept it, even though I find it really annoying. But now it's time to go into spoilers. I've gotten sidetracked enough. I gotta talk about the one thing that the show did okay. So let's just run through the characters. Alright? I already told you Eleanor was a boring character you don't find anything about. Exxon doesn't want anything to do with her. He calls her useless the whole anime, which, I mean, he's not really wrong. And, yeah, she can't go home to her dad when he asks her to, because she's like, I can't. I don't know why. I'm not giving a reason. You find out 10 episodes in that when she was born, her twin brother was born deceased. Shockers, her dead twin brother turns out to be Wraith, aka Ethan. Wow, that's fucking cliche now, isn't it? If there were foreshadowing of this, it could have worked, but there really wasn't, other than him saying he needed Eleanor for his plan for some reason earlier on. But alright, so Eleanor's boring. Exxon, another character whose backstory was exposited on. So you find out he was a character, or he was the lone survivor of a facility experiment gone wrong that killed everyone but him. And that's why he's standoffish around people, and that's it. That's all you get on him. And it's exposited 9 episodes in. And, yeah, exposited in a scene that's trying to be serious, but turns out to be silly when everyone is talking like this the whole scene. Anyway, let's move on from him. I'm saving the best for last, by the way, so let's go to Lisa. I already told you all Lisa's backstory, and by the way, that's it. Yeah, no joke. She shows up in episode 3, gets almost run over by Eleanor, and that's how they become bestest friends. Could you imagine that? Someone hits you with a car, and you're like, hey, you're my buddy now. I guess in all fairness to Eleanor, she did take Lisa to the hospital and tried helping her and apologized, so whatever. But anyways, yeah, Lisa, after learning how to fly and that she's reflected, is like, oh, I want to come with you now. That's it. That's our character for the rest of the series. So, wow. Some character arc you had for the other 9 episodes you didn't deserve to be a part of. Now, Michael, who's the guy with the weird turtle wife thing, I guess. Anyone ever play Bionic Commando? Anyway, Michael, I mean. His is another one who he just decides to go with them after he... How do I break this down? I'm trying not to get stuck here, guys, alright? You gotta work with me here. So he decides to go with them because originally he was helping Reflected try, getting saved, right? But unfortunately, that didn't happen when his hiding spot for all the Reflected he was helping got found out. Don't think I need to tell you what happens there. A lot of the Reflected get captured and or deadified. So I guess he decides to go with Exxon and friends to stop Wraith because it's implied Wraith manipulated the situation. Whatever. Michael's character more or less peaks after that. I guess there's something about his wife finally coming out of the turtle shell at the end and, you know, them making peace with themselves. As far as the Japanese characters, they show up in the final episode after finally getting to America. They do one thing and that's it. Like, wow, all that build up for nothing. What was your point? Anyway. The last one I want to talk about here is iGuy. I already mentioned iGuy had a very impressively written story. He was a musician from the 80s that wrote Sky Show, basically a one-hit wonder, with his band. However, after the reflected light hit him, he can no longer sing. But he still wants the fame. So he became a superhero. And he uses a suit, kind of like Batman, I guess, to help enhance his voice and stuff like that, and, you know, just be cool. And make sure the cameras cover him beating the hell out of villains. Kind of like, I guess the best way to describe it is Tiger and Bunny. Or My Hero Academia. I believe they do that there too. But, yeah. Well, anyways, after running into Exxon and stopping one of Wraith's attacks from abducting the Reflected, Exxon basically says, you're playing hero. You only want the spotlight. And, you know, you're not a real hero. You're just pretending. Thus forcing him to have an existential crisis. And, yeah. It's then when he goes back, listens to his old songs that he used to do against Sky Show, which he plays every time he fights a villain, by the way. And I think it's really funny. It's cool. You find out from Wraith waking him up, he was in a delusional state. This is what's implied. And his friends, his bandmates, have all been dead for a while. His bandmates, by the way, I should mention, were talking to him this whole time as his navigators and the ones setting up the production and everything for him and helping him in and out of the suit, you know, when he became a hero, because they want to help him succeed because he was the frontman for the band. But you find out they were dead for a while and they were an AI that he was talking to in his head. You know, it's like a computer program in the helmet of his suit. But he was so delusional, he made himself believe they were still alive. That's actually really well handled, and you don't see it coming. I don't know, I feel like that was really well done. Of course, after this, he has a nervous breakdown and wants vengeance on Wraith. Because, of course, it was one of Wraith's people that killed his bandmates. But still, I don't know, I like his story arc, and I feel like if he were the main character, it would have worked. There's even a moment where he's doubting himself, thinking people care more about iGuy than they do about the guy underneath the mask, i.e. him. And he's wondering, but I wanted the fame. I don't want it to go to my alter ego. What the hell is this? He's a complex character, and I think that's why James Kirby was able to pull so much out of him. Even though James Kirby clearly never voice acted before, from what I could tell. And yeah, this more or less turns him into an anti-hero, where he basically becomes Batman. But alright. Of course, everyone collaborates at the end, takes on Wraith, beats him and his team of villains. Some of his villains have face turns because they realized Wraith was using them, yada yada. And Eleanor and Exxon gives some rhetoric about how without darkness there cannot be light. Without light there cannot be dark. The morning will always come at the end of a rough night. And then they sequel bait for a season 2 that I hope never comes. Again, the shit with Eleanor is really fucking boring. I can't stress that enough. The dub performances didn't help either. Again, Vic sounded very off. And it's not helped by the fact where if you pay attention, you could pick up on several plot holes in the story as well. I'd point all of them out, but we'd be here all day. One I'll give it as an example is Eleanor did research looking up the first 2 people that were abducted, finding out that they were related, And then she says, oh, clearly there's a connection. They're cousins. So maybe we should try looking for other reflected that they might abduct. Just to say 2 episodes later, I found out something about those 2 first abductees. They're cousins. You already told us that. Why are you treating this like it's a plot twist show? Yeah, I know, I paid too much attention to this shit. I need to stop doing that, clearly. But alright, guys. There's others, but I've rambled enough. I've gotten coherent enough. This show sucks. There's no getting around it. It's getting an F from me, obviously. It's not on the Gilgamesh level, but it's getting an F for a lot of reasons. 1, the wasted potential here. There's instances where you could tell something good could have come out of this. Guy, as stated before, I think had a really well-handled story, if done properly in its own series. The rest of the characters, though, they either peak too early, have character motivations flip on a dime, or just have nothing to work with. And making Vic sound like shit in an English dub. In 2017, no less. Yeah, fuck right off with that. This is potentially one of the worst English dubs. But it's not for the reasons you think. Of course, dubs from the 80s probably sound worse in certain respects. The problem is the time period. Again, 2017. 2017. At that point, we had the dubs for Full Metal Alchemist. We had the dubs for Overlord, Cowboy Bebop, as mentioned earlier. I don't know. What else? Think of some other high-quality dubs that surpassed this piece of shit by 2017. Hence why I said earlier, if this were the early 2000s, or hell, let's say late 90s, like 97, 98, I'd be a little more forgiving towards it. But no. There's no excuse for this atrocious fucking dub. I can't stop repeating myself, because this show is making me insane. Case closed. It sucks. But alright. I can't end Manana March with something like this. I can't. With his worst role. Come on, that's not cool. And I'm sure some smartass out there's like, actually, he sounds worse here. Yeah, but I'm sorry. I think this is his worst performance. At least from what I've seen. I don't know. Anyways, I guess that's it. I don't want to ramble on too much longer. If I ever have to talk about The Reflection again, it'll be too soon. Fuck this show. Fuck this anime. Stanley, I am so sorry, man, that you were involved with this. And, you know, maybe iGuy's story was written by him. Maybe that was the bright spot. But otherwise, it's just a shitty clone of X-Men. And no one wants that. At least no one should. But alright, guys. Let me know what you thought of The Reflection. Maybe you liked it. And if you did, well, to each their own, I suppose. But, yeah. If you hated it as much as I did, let me know. I don't know. And hey, if you want something for us to cover, leave it down below, and at some point we'll cover it. As stated, not as bad as Gilgamesh. Because 1, there are some interesting plot points, as stated, and 2, half as long. It's only 12 episodes. Thank God for that. One of the worst dubs I've seen. I hate this show. But enough ranting. I'm done. I've said that already. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have yourselves a great day. And, I don't know, I'm required to ask, please like, subscribe, comment, etc. if you're watching this on YouTube. And I apologize for the nonsensical ramblings, but what do you expect when this show gives me hardly anything to work with? Till next time, guys. Hope you all have a great day. What the fuck is a reflected anyways? Why even call it that? What, like a mirror? Oh no, that name sounds dumb to me. Yeah, till next time, guys.